Hello, I am Coach Berta. Welcome to another Healthful Insights interview, conversations to inspire your healthier lifestyle. Today, I'm joined by Megan Schmidt, mindset and energy transformation coach, yoga instructor, and host of the Align Wellness podcast. Hello, Megan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you on. Last month, I had the pleasure of joining one of Megan's 7-day Manage Your Mindset masterclasses. Megan, I absolutely loved the structure of the class you offered, the live sessions, the prompts for journaling. It really did inspire me to reassess my thinking, and which is great preparation for me because my kids restart virtual schooling tomorrow.
Oh,
It's the
yes.
end of summer officially. So I really feel like I'm going forward with some routine change that I have thought through and will manage much better. But we could start the conversation today by you just explaining a little bit about how our mind works.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, and thank you for joining us in the Manage Your Mind Masterclass. And I started that free training as kind of like an introduction to teach women why they are not getting the results that they are after. Because I, a few years ago thought to myself, like, people kind of know what it takes to be, or like what to do, what foods to eat and all those types of things. Why are they not getting results? Why are they not, going after those things and doing that? And I realize it's because they are not managing their mind. They don't understand how powerful the mind is. They don't see that it's the thoughts that actually eventually like create the results. And so what I want to teach you all is, this is something that I learned from Bert, and she calls it the model. So you have circumstances in your life, and those circumstances are neutral. The reason we don't see them as neutral is because we have thoughts about them. So your kids starting virtual school, that's a neutral circumstance, but I'm sure you have thoughts that make it either a positive thing, a negative thing, or sometimes both. And so, we can think about anything like your weight, your job, your relationship. All of those things are circumstances, and they're all neutral. And so the next part of this model is thoughts. So we have thoughts about circumstances, and our thoughts is what like gives the things meaning, right? When we have thoughts, our thoughts produce emotions in our body. So you might have a thought such as, it's hard for me to be healthy, right? So I'm sure that some women have that thought. So when you have that thought, it's hard for me to be healthy, you feel defeated. You feel sorry for yourself. You feel frustrated. Maybe you feel like unenthused, right? Like if you think about, oh, I should probably eat healthier, I should probably move my body, but you think it's hard to be healthy. Now you feel not enthused to do anything about it, right? And so then those feelings that are generated from your thoughts, they create action. They like drive you to take action. So if I'm thinking it's really easy for me to be healthy, and I believe that thought, I'm going to go for a run, which is what I did this morning. Or I'm going to go practice yoga, or I'm going to go make myself a green smoothie, or anything else, like meditate, anything else that's going to be health promoting. Because to me, it's easy to be healthy. I enjoy it. I just naturally do those types of things. And I know that those are multiple thoughts, right? So our thoughts create our feelings. Our feelings drive us to take action. Sometimes to not take action, right? So maybe we wanted to go for that run, but we think it's really hard to be healthy. So we go sit on the couch and turn on Netflix, right? Sometimes happens. So, and then those actions add up to create results. And you can look at your life, and that is the sum of all the results from your thinking.
Yeah, it's a lovely model, actually. The circumstances are the facts, driving the thoughts, then producing the emotions, and
Mhm.
off the back of that, the actions. Have I got that right in terms of
Yeah,
each of the
totally.
steps?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an easy one to carry with you then, because, you know, if you are consciously thinking about, you know, the feelings that are coming up, um, then you can sort of stop yourself in your tracks and say, how can I look at this from a different perspective?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and, that,
exactly.
and that's something I find mind blowing in itself, that so much of our thought process is subconscious. I think it's 5% that is actually conscious thought that we have, and the
Yeah.
rest is our subconscious.
Yeah, so that's what I've heard. I listen to a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He
Mm.
has some great books that are like mind blowing if you if you want to learn about that kind of stuff. And so he talks about how, 5 to 10% is really conscious, as in like we're aware, and
Yeah.
most of it, right? Most of how we do things and like the things that we just kind of automatically do, our behavior, our habit is subconscious. Like we get out of bed on the same side every morning. We go and do the same things usually each morning as soon as we wake up. We're creatures of habit, right? And it gets to be so much so that our body is like taking over for our mind.
Yes. Yeah. Which, you know, from an evolutionary point of view, is a good thing, because we don't want to have to overanalyze everything to make a decision. But when those negative thought patterns are in there,
Mm-hmm.
that's something that perhaps we may want to unpick, so that we can feel better about the situation and be more productive moving forward. I am aware also of the fact that we can bring in limiting beliefs, which, you know, do hold us back. And you explained a bit during the masterclass, and I have heard this before, where these are like protection mechanisms that we've developed through the years. Can you talk a little bit to that?
Yeah, definitely. It is interesting that we think things and we think that what we think is true.
Mm.
So, right? Like we think that it's just like fact that, oh, I'm just not athletic. That was something that I thought about myself when I was like 16-ish. And it's so funny because like I practiced yoga and I liked running, but I wasn't good at organized sport. And I didn't enjoy it also, right? So I just labeled myself as not athletic. But to anybody else, they would have been like, but you do all these other things. And so I had this like limiting belief around that. And so some people, you learn things from the ages of 0 to around 7, 8, 9-ish, either, through conversation or how you see maybe your parents interacting or things like that. So maybe you saw, your parents or someone else in your life that was influential when you were younger. You saw them struggle with food or struggle with health or in relationships. And so you've kind of learned things, maybe money, right? These different things. And so we might have a belief, which I'll talk about that in a second. So we might have a belief that money is hard, right? And so a belief is literally just a thought that you keep thinking. And so then if you have a belief that money is hard and it's not serving you because you want to have more money in your life, now you have a limiting belief, right? Because a limiting belief is just something that you think that you're believing to be true, and it's not serving you.
Yes.
So we like kind of subconsciously think that these things are protecting us. Maybe you grew up and you were told that like people who have, I don't know why I'm on the money train, but we'll just keep going with it because I'm sure people can relate to that. So maybe your parents said like, oh, people who have a lot of money are greedy. And then you grow up and you have a desire to make more money, but you don't want to subconsciously because you don't want to be seen as greedy. Because we value our parents' opinion and we don't want to like disappoint them in this weird way that our brain is like trying to do that, right? So that might be something that's going on in your mind. It is helpful to start to look at the results that you have in your life. So you look at your bank account, you look at your body, you look at your relationship or your lack of relationship that you want to have, and that's how you determine what are your beliefs and what are your limiting beliefs? Because if you want to have more money and you don't have as much as you want, you have a way of thinking about that, right? There's something that you need to overcome. If you want to be healthier, if you want to be, let's say, eating a plant-based diet and you're not, you have limiting beliefs that it's going to be hard, it's going to take too much time, which I know is something that comes up for a lot of people.
Yes.
So you have, right? And so you have these ways of thinking around that. And so it's helpful in that moment to have awareness, first and foremost, about what you are believing, those limiting beliefs that aren't true anymore, that you don't want to be true anymore. And you can find proof. So you can look at proof to disprove your limiting belief to find out how it could not be true. Because then as you're going to see more and more examples, like, oh, I know somebody and she actually looks like she doesn't have a hard time at all being healthy. Or, she is busy. I don't like that word necessarily, but we'll use it because I know that a lot of people say that. So she's busy, but she still finds time to move her body every day or whatever. And so you can just look at examples in your life of people that you know or things that you've seen to disprove those limiting beliefs.
Yeah, no, and is that then something in terms of practical takeaways from today? You would say that, someone sit down and perhaps is it journaling out where they see their limiting beliefs come up time and time again? How would you advise people to make a start on this?
Yeah, so I would start with one area, because as you change one area, because you are a whole person, a whole being, everything else is going to change, right? And so I always tell my clients we start with energy, mindset, emotions, right? Like those are kind of like that's what I call the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are changing your actions, but your energy is still in lack, you are going to always get lack. Whatever energy you're putting into something is what you're going to get out. So I would say to get aware of your energy. Like, how are you feeling throughout the day? We have between 60 and 70,000 thoughts in a day. So that's a lot to go through all those thoughts, but you can just look at your day to day, like in the last week. What were the main emotions that you felt? And this is what I did a few years ago when I was really struggling with postpartum anxiety. I was not feeling good. I was not happy. I was probably so not fun to be around. And I know that, right? And so I thought to myself, like, this is not who I want to be. This is not how I think of myself or how I thought of myself before. And I know this isn't what I want for myself. I had that awareness to know that I wanted different. And I think most people do when they're starting to make change or starting to think about making change. So I thought to myself, okay, like, what are the main emotions that I'm feeling? And it was self-pity. Like, I hate even saying these things because it's like, it sucks, but this is the truth of probably where most people realize they need to make some changes, is that they're like just sick of themselves. They're like, I can't handle this anymore. I need to get out of this place, right? So I was feeling a lot of self-pity. I was feeling frustration. I had resentment towards my husband because I was feeling so sorry for myself and I was blaming him for my lack of results in my life. And for the hard time that I was going through, right? Because I just was in such a place of victim mentality that I was just thinking, it's your fault, it's not my fault, right? And so if you resonate with that, if anyone listening to this resonates with that, like, you are 100% responsible for everything in your life. And sometimes, especially in the beginning, it's hard to take that on. But trust me when I say that from that place of taking total responsibility, you now have total responsibility of where you're going. Like, you have total freedom to take your life any way that you want it. So it's a good thing.
A real takeaway from your training as well for me was around how we put problems in our way, and how, you're thinking around how to consider problems to move forward.
Yeah, I'll share that because some people might think it's like a little controversial, but a problem, I believe, and I heard this and I'm choosing to believe it, right? A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. So you can believe anything that you want. So you can believe that you have problems in your life, but how you think about things is how you're going to perceive them. And so I believe that problems are like obstacles, or you can see them as like a stepping stone. So if you can solve something, I don't think that it's a problem, right? Because the way we've been taught to see problems is like it's a negative thing, it's a bad thing. And so how are you going to feel? You're going to feel like defeated, or like, oh my gosh, another thing that I have to solve for, or that, and it's going to feel like a negative thing. If you just see it as like, oh, this is just another thing that I'm going to like work through, one foot in front of the other, that I'm going to solve for, it just becomes a non-issue. Right?
Again, I think it comes back to the energy you put around it. You know, there's this, you can make it heavy, you can make it difficult before you even embark on it, or you can just decide this is achievable. You can just lighten it up. You know, why can't the things that we approach be light and easy and manageable, and having that kind of productive, positive mindset to embark on whatever it is you're trying to tackle and achieve, can really shift the perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, 100%. And a problem is a low vibration. It's down here, right? If you can see my hand on the screen. And a solution is a high vibration. So like you are literally never going to see a solution when you're in the vibration of a problem. So if you want to be like a solution focused person, you've got to stop thinking of things as problems and start seeing, you know, opportunities. Like, can you imagine how great that would be to just see the things in your life as opportunities to grow? Because all of growth is uncomfortable. And I think that the more that you become comfortable with that truth, your life is just like limitless. You have so many options.
And I think that you know, it's a good analogy with the sort of from here to here. You've created that gap, which is almost, there could be a fear factor within that. You know, what work is involved to get from here to here. But again, if you have the perspective of growth, of, you know, the learning along the way, and actually, again, enjoying the journey as you go, it's in the becoming, right? Which definitely came through as well in the mindset training. You know, what I'm trying to recall your words around that. What do I have to do more of to become the person I want to be?
Yeah.
Which I really resonated with, rather than, you know, so that you can identify as you go along and enjoy the process, rather than just, okay, now I've got to where I want to be, and, you know, it's like, okay, where's the next thing? So you never really get to be satisfied with the accomplishment.
Exactly. And on that point, I'll say this quickly. The reason, like, how the brain works is the reason that you want all of the things that you want is because you think you're going to feel better when you have them.
Yeah.
So if we just have that understanding, like, and this isn't a problem, this isn't a judgment. I don't want you to think, okay, so I shouldn't have desires, because absolutely not. I think that's exactly what we're here for, is our soul needs to be expanded. And so how do we expand? By growing, by having desires, by working towards things. That's exactly, I think, what we're here for. And so, but I want you to see that the reason that you want to be healthier, the reason that you want to change career, the reason that you want to have a more fulfilling relationship, or that maybe you want people to change, you know, I'm not saying that that's something that we should want necessarily, but that is something that sometimes happens, is we want people to act differently because we think that when they act differently, we'll feel better, right? Or if we think I'll lose weight and then I'll feel better, or we'll move and then I'll feel better.
Yeah.
And the truth is that you won't. You'll feel exactly as you do right now. Maybe there'll be like a little bit of happiness, but you'll just settle back to your baseline happiness quickly enough. So if you understand that, that's not to say, okay, so should I just not want to like lose weight or get healthier or move? No, you can want whatever you want, but just understand that you are responsible for your emotions because of the way, or from your thinking. It's your thinking about it. So that's what I want you to understand.
I'm very conscious that our viewers who may not have thought about this previously will most likely want to learn more. And I'd love to know how they can connect with you, and what other perhaps masterminds you have coming up that you can inform people about.
Yeah, for sure. So you can get yourself inside of my private Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook, you can just search Align Wellness, YXE. If you're on Instagram, you could search Align Wellness YXE. I do have a podcast called the Align Wellness Podcast. And if you're following me on Instagram or inside of the Facebook group, you will see when the next Manage Your Mind Masterclass series is coming up, which should be, I don't have the exact date, but I'm thinking that we'll do beginning of October.
And Megan, you've just kicked off a 40-day immersion today, which is very exciting. I'm going to be part of that, and I'm looking forward to the lives and the assignments that you'll give us to, some thought-provoking work. Can you just explain a little bit about this initiative?
Sure. Okay, for sure. So this is something that is inside of my Align Wellness or my Aligned Life program. And so it is something that I'm doing as for my clients to help them jumpstart. And I always see fall as like the perfect opportunity of like a new beginning, right? Everybody is just craving to get back into routine. Every client call that I've had in the last 2 weeks, they're just all saying the same thing. Like, we just want to get back into routine and all of these things. Because we sometimes do fall off I hate saying fall off the wagon, but that's sometimes how it feels. And so what we're doing inside of the group is a 40-day program, which is something that I learned through yoga. I'm also a yoga instructor. But this is going to be more of like individual goals that you have and being consistent with them for the 40 days. So I have energy practices that I am encouraging my clients to be doing throughout the 40 days. And then they are all working towards their own goals, but we're also doing it as a collective, as the group part atmosphere, because that is super powerful. Women coming together, cheering each other on. When we celebrate other people's wins, we're basically saying like, me too, please, universe. And so it just feels so good to have that energy and to support other women and also have other women support us.
No, I couldn't agree more on that point. It's powerful, really, just acknowledging through other people's successes and celebrating your own small, large wins along the way in terms of making shifts in whatever direction, you're trying to make the changes. Megan, I do like to ask anyone that I have these conversations with, the fact that my business is called Your Healthier Lifestyle. I believe that we're all on our journey. Health is a journey, not a destination. And we're all at different points and doing things in our own way to progress our healthier lifestyle. Is there something that you can share that you're doing currently in your life to progress your own health journey?
For me, it's always mindset. It's always my energy and mindset work. I notice, being a mom, and I'm thinking that some of your listeners might relate to this. I can find myself being knocked off of my thought process or my energy many times throughout the day, right? Someone's hungry, someone's whining, someone's tired, things aren't going according to your plan in your head. And so I'm always, I do my daily meditation that helps me, my journaling that helps me get myself almost like primed for the day. And so for me, it's always questioning my thoughts. Is this true? This is something that Byron Katie talks about in her work called The Work. She says, is it true? When you have a thought, whatever, this house is so messy all the time, or all these absolutes that we have. And so you can ask yourself, like, is this true? Can I be absolutely certain that this is true? And it's like disproving those thoughts, because your thoughts are not true. So they're just thoughts. And so I am always just like sifting through thoughts and noticing when I am knocked off my energy. How do I want to word that? Like being kind of taken off of my energy that I want to be at from other people, and taking responsibility for how I want to feel. So a lot of it is, the nutrition, the movement, but meditation and journaling are like my major practices that I feel are the most helpful for me in this practice right now of the journey, because it is so true. It is a journey. And, things are changing and seasons changing and kids back to school, things, you have to always reassess things. And once you feel like you've got like a handle on things, something new is going to come up. So you have to be watching your mind and be aware that the things that you think aren't always true, because that is what can trick you into thinking, into getting into unhelpful thoughts, I guess we can say.
No, thank you for sharing that, Megan, because, you know, it's great to hear it from you as a coach in this sphere, knowing that you also have to do the work and it's a continuous process for you as well. And I'm just so thankful for our conversation today. I'll put all your contact details in the description of this video.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
Bye.